Yeah. Once everyone's ready, I kind of went on the theme of International Women's Day today. Like you to reflect and think of a woman that you admire and look up to in your life.
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. I'm gonna go first. I'm not even connected to the Minty right now. I just know my answer is pretty clear. I have incredible women in my life. My mom, I'm one of 8 kids. My mom and dad have been married for 56 years. My family's super tight, and there's no one in the world like my mom. She's mother of 8, grandmother of 39, 40 now, I think, great grandmother to 12 or 13. And there's no one in the city that has more energy, more positive thoughts, continues to work on herself. She's a vegan, super athletic, super busy, 86 years old and just thriving. Still trying to make sure that she's kind of the matriarch of our family and driving us, and one of my big inspirations. So
Awesome. That's cool. Well, some of the responses on here is you can see them. A lot of people are picking their mom, their sisters, Billie Jean King.
yeah, it's such an incredible time in our world today as we lift up different marginalized groups in different ways, and obviously a ton of energy and emphasis on reconciling some of the past discrimination issues and racial issues that have divided us. But I think there's nothing more important than investing in the sports journey of a young person, a young woman, a young girl, and helping them find a way through sports to engage in a side of life that in the past has sometimes been limited. Access has been limited, opportunities have been limited. Obviously, the experience has been muted because of financial considerations, and I love the energy that has been created by uplifting women in sports. At almost every single level, there's activity going on, and it's super incredible. And that's one of the things that drives me every day is to wake up and think about ways to increase access to women in sports.
Yeah, that's really well said, Bill. This next question, people can probably elaborate on who inspires them in athletics. I'm a big track nut personally, so I really love Allison Felix and Shelly-Ann Fraser. They're just women that are excelling at their fields and being moms and business women, just really inspiring.
There are obviously a lot of role models. Locally, I've found that super inspired by the KC Current and the women within the organization that are running the organization, the women that are playing on the field, representing our city and representing the energy that whole entity has brought to our city. I think about my good friend Trisha Beam, who has just worked tirelessly throughout her career to train cross country and track athletes, dedicated her life to it, involved in Girls on the Run and a lot of different great activities. She just models it every single day, and she inspires me. I'm sure you guys can talk about different. Maureen Farrell, a golf coach here in town, she's just incredibly powerful woman, doing incredible things, not only with her own desire to get women involved in golf and use golf as a way to further careers, but also investing in young people in the game of golf and sharing that. obviously, we could go on and on about it. So, but it is inspiring.
Yeah, those are some really great suggestions people put up there.
Yeah.
Going off of what Bill's kind of just talked about, people in the Kansas City area, how do you see the sports sector being a champion for women and girls in sport in Kansas City?
So I'll speak to from the WIN perspective. I didn't log into Menti. I don't have my cell phone with me at the moment. So, but I will say that I think, I mean, obviously WIN's mission is creating opportunities for girls and women to participate in sports events. And so we're really active in trying to engage folks with Camp WIN and with not just the WIN events now, but we're really trying to do a push to get folks into the other sports commission events. But I think we as a group can certainly work together to help share information about the different activities and events that are going on that are within our realm. So I know there's the Girls Play Flag football program. There's everybody. There's camps, basketball camps, football football programs, softball. I mean, there's just so many different programs out there, especially at the youth level. So I think sharing them amongst ourselves, and then being able to help amplify each other's programs. I feel like that's one way that we can champion. To try to get more folks involved and engaged. And I'm so excited to see that KC Crew is represented today, because I feel like you guys have a huge niche in the adult market for that. And yeah, so I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, we're lucky to have WIN for KC with us, obviously representing, and have been inspired by Jessica Blublau and what she has done to build the organization. Obviously, they just had an incredible event 2 weeks ago that honored their organization and kind of lifted up the women in our city that are working towards, a level playing field. That's what we want in every situation, and that's what we're working towards. The sports sector using physical activity and exercise as a way to get into the lives of young people that are seeking this kind of interaction and connection, allows the sports sector really to kind of step into this space. We spent a great deal of time, and this is what my meeting was about Monday morning, and why I brought that up, the first thing that we talked about. We've spent a great deal of time with the sports sector coming up with the strategic approach to how we wanted to impact the Kansas City with the power of sports and physical activity. And we've done a number of different things around those strategies, where we've contemplated how to access park spaces and open spaces to engage with physical activity, and use rec play as a way of creating a safe, soft space for people to start to engage with physical activity around the games that they play, and the idea of competition. And I think that ultimately we got to a point where those strategies, although they are really awesome opportunities for us each to figure out which strategy we like and which one we want to tag to, when we started thinking about a comprehensive qualitative and quantitative understanding of our youth sports space, how sports engages our city, the whole idea of what the sports sector is trying to do, we found that the Aspen Institute had some really unique I still have everybody. Sorry about that. That the Aspen Institute and their community reports, their mini project plays that they do, really fulfills almost all of the needs that we have in order to understand what was happening in our city, in our communities, so that we can pinpoint and target responses that meet the needs of where we find the biggest issues and the most important pain points to address. And so I suggested, and Robin, I think, was already on this page, and I'm putting this out to the group, that we lean in as heavily as we can into this Aspen Institute opportunity, knowing that we've received the enormous amount of funding that it takes to bring them here, knowing that they have a plan. I'm sorry. That this is a unique moment in time, and that the sports sector we don't drop the other strategies as we thought about them and what they meant. I mean, I think the idea of having a Kansas City Stakeholders Alliance, where we sit around the table, all of us who are involved in helping access sports for kids and get kids more physically active, using sports, that is something I think is out there, but with as much opportunity and as much work that is going to be created by having the Aspen Institute help us identify where we are at with kids and play. I think it allows us to make that the most important thing that we do as a group, as we move forward, that we really all wrap our heads around what this Aspen Institute mini state of play is, and what it means, and what we can do to use it, as other communities have, to successfully move the community forward, using physical activity and sports as the platform that we all believe in. Would you add anything, Robin?
No, what's up, Bill? Yeah, I guess the only thing I would just add is, at the end of this whole Aspen Institute project, I anticipate, a nice comprehensive set of recommendations that I'm just going to say will probably align with a lot of the strategies that we've already developed. I kind of see it as like, they are like, and their partnership is a way for us to get the most out of our partnerships, and really to get a lot of collective buy-in on those next steps. So yeah.
Let's pass this talking stick around to anyone who has any questions or concerns or thoughts about this direction that the sports sector will head over the course of the next 9 to 12 months. Is there anybody that would like to share their thoughts or talk about it?
And maybe to kind of trigger some thoughts, Natalie, I'm going to share my screen real quick and throw up the timeline.
Okay.
So I actually think did we know we had the Aspen Institute funding at the last meeting? We may not have. Yeah, so I guess it came Super Bowl Sunday. We got the news that Children's Mercy fully funded the proposal, which is great news. We would have done it anyway, but it would have required a little bit more, a few more steps to get the funding in place. So this can help us get started quicker. So right now we're waiting on the agreement to be fully drafted by Aspen Institute. Then we'll submit it to Children's Mercy for their review. Here is the timeline that Aspen Institute has proposed. And I think I may have shared some of this information before, but I believe I misspoke. The current timeline is to formally begin in August of 2023. In between, the work is actually starting now. We're kind of in the pre-work phase where we're sharing information with our Aspen Institute partners about what we know already about the current state of sports in Kansas City. And that's going to help them identify who should be involved in like some of the different planning committees, some of the different survey developments that they'll do. So we're doing work right now, and we'll probably ask for information from you guys over the next 3 or 4 months as we continue with this pre-work, but it formally begins in August. The first phase of the project is data collection, and it's going to involve organizing data that we already have and collecting new data. And the new data will be collected primarily through this what they call the State of Play Youth Survey. So they have a survey that is has a standard bank of like 12 questions, and then they have another like 8 questions that they add on based on the specifics of the region. And so it's about a 20-item question that they distribute to youth. And so basically they ask youth their input on these topics and get feedback on a whole variety. Well, they organize it in 8 plays, and you can go on their website, and maybe even Natalie can find it. The 8 plays that Aspen Institute really tries to organize their data around. So solidifying the State of Play Youth Survey will be in September. Actual data collection occurs in the fall. And then they organize the information, and then we begin planning what's phase 2, which is the State of Play Kansas City Summit. So this is tentatively planned for March or April next year, so about a year from now. This is going to be a day-long event with 100 people or so there. All the key stakeholders who we identify to be involved will be invited, and they'll share the results of the survey and the other data that we have, and start talking about what the next steps are. And they're going to get feedback from the summit participants on what those next steps might look like. And then following the summit, they'll release their final State of Play report, which has all of that data and next steps in it. And if you look at some of their past reports, it's like a 75-page document with all the information in there. So that's the general timeline and an overview of the different phases and activities that will be involved in the Project Play partnership. So yeah, to Bill's point, any questions about some of these specifics, any questions, just big picture questions? You're muted, Bill.
Well, I think it all sounds really good and exciting. One of the things that Robin and I have talked about, that even though we have received full funding for the project, doesn't mean we don't still have an opportunity to go out and ask for some sponsorship help around this campaign and what it means, knowing that all of us will benefit when the report comes out, to help fortify what our missions are and vision of helping kids with sports. So I'm excited about engaging with the group here on a regular basis to talk about the potential of adding some of the biggest brands in Kansas City to help support what we're doing. I think it makes it gives us something to attract people with, knowing that there is this high level sophisticated group that has put down a track record of successful research projects in other cities, and that we are actually having this happen here in our city. I think there's going to be a small sense of buzz about it, and we want to continue to help spread the word and raise awareness and raise support for what we're doing. Not sure how that looks yet, but I know there's the desire. Does that make sense? Well, if no one has any questions about this, there will be
Here-
more to come. Go ahead.
Yeah, here, I'm just gonna do a quick another screen share just to give you a sense of what Aspen Institute is looking for. Natalie put this in the chat, but when I mentioned those 8 plays, here are kind of the way that they organize their report. And you guys can go and look at this on your own, but ask kids what they want, reintroduce free play, encourage sports sampling, revitalize in-town leagues, think small, design for development, train all coaches, and emphasize prevention. So, my comment to Bill at the start to what Bill was saying about, our strategies, this is a lot of these strategies line up with our strategies that we developed. We've got some things around training coaches, we've got things on injury prevention, in addition to like access, equitable access. So it's a really nice structure, like Bill said, and a great way for us to, kind of get a handle on what's happening in Kansas City.
So I think that the next step for us is to create a short pitch deck that kind of explains what this is, so we can share that out with you guys and you can share it with your networks. We're waiting on some information and some I'm not really sure exactly what we're waiting on from the Aspen Institute, but they're going to provide us a little more meat to the bone to share with our city. And I think we've contemplated a press release and really kind of making this a signature announcement for the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan. We haven't really discussed that with the other sectors or announced it in any way to the internal group. But I think that the steps to announcing this to the city kind of flow through. Let's get it announced internally. Let's come up with the right language we want to share, and then let's disseminate it to all the different sectors. Let them know that this is an investment that Children's Mercy Hospital is making in the Kansas City Physical Activity Plans work, and that it really elevates all of the things that the different sectors are doing. It's not just a sports sector thing. This is a Kansas City Physical Activity Plan moment in time that really signifies and rewards all the hard work that Shelley and Robin and Katie and Natalie and the whole group there at the Healthy Lifestyles department at Children's Mercy have been working on for a little over 4 years, right? I mean, this is really, really special. So I'm really congratulate Robin for making it happen, getting the submission into Children's Mercy, getting the money for this. And it's, our challenge is to build on it. And there's a ton of other things going on in this city too. So you can't get online in any social format and not see that there's just one event after another that is lighting the city up in different ways, and different people asking for different things. And so everyone has a lot on their plate. And I'm committed to helping everyone that is involved in this group bring attention to what it is that they're doing. And I look forward to working with your organizations individually and corporately to continue to to build this coalition of people that believe that sports is one of the answers our kids need now in order to transform their lives, in order to recover from what they've gone through, in order to heal, in order to support their mental health issues that they all are dealing with. Sports, physical activity, exercise, all of these things are proving to be scientifically and anecdotally and just, life experience proving to be one of the answers we need right now. Okay. Is there anything other than questions about the Aspen Institute that people would like to talk about? Shelley, do you want to talk about the Kansas City Corporate Challenge event that's coming up?
I would let Allison do that.
Okay, Allison.
Thanks, Shelley. Hi, Bill. So we have the Kansas City Corporate Challenge season getting ready to kick off. We actually have our first event coming up that first weekend here in April. But our large kickoff event is April 7th out at Truman Stadium. And we're going to have our Fit-tastic Family Fun Zone that is sponsored by Children's Mercy. And we've got a whole bunch of different vendors coming out. And this is ideally a giant sports sampling event. So we've got PGA Midwest, they're going to be coming out, First Tee, trying to get those guys to come out so that way kids can try out the golf aspect. Challenger Sports has a brand new giant inflatable soccer field. If you guys haven't seen it yet, it's awesome. They're really wanting to promote it, but it's basically designed for 3-on-3 soccer or 1-on-1 or however, because not everyone has a whole bunch of kids that they can get a game going. And we've also got our pickleball and our tennis. We're still working on basketball, and then we do have Buddy Pigs coming out. Buddy Pigs is a vendor out of Arkansas, and I know Shelley, we're still working with Bike Walk KC as well too to see if they can come out as well. Talk more about
Yes.
bike safety.
Allison,
I've reached out
are
to-
you looking for more programming?
So currently we're using partners that Children's Mercy and JCPRD uses just because we have waivers and contracts with them. But we would love to get more partners out there. So if you guys are interested, I can post my email in the chat. And you
Okay.
guys can email me and let me know, and we can see how we can partner and get some things going.
Great.
And I know Casey Crew, Mitch, we've got a ton of our folks that come compete for you guys as well. So that's exciting. They said that they prepare in the off season with Casey Crew so they can compete during Corporate Challenge.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That's
I'll say we'll
awesome.
be the fun social beer drinking league, and then they can go compete for the glory in the corporate challenge. So
Well, we've got beer drinking at some Corporate Challenge events. as
Okay.
well, too. So, but not all,
Cool.
like at the track meet, obviously, since it's
I-
not a high
you guys
school.
do a marathon too, right?
We do a half marathon, not a
Oh,
full.
half marathon. Okay.
Yeah, half marathon, still do the team duathlon, so that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, but we have a lot of social activities after events as well too.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Perfect.
So yeah.
I'm glad to hear
so-
that they're doing
yeah.
both. So
Oh yeah, and I know we've got a lot of our employees too. They wanted practice leagues, but a lot of our practice leagues are all going to you guys, which is okay as long as they're getting out there moving. That's all we care
Yep.
about.
Yep.
So that is the latest happening in the corporate challenge world. They did remove dodgeball this year. People turn into different animals during dodgeball. That's all there is to it. So,
yeah, we don't run dodgeball because
Too competitive.
things getting thrown at people is brings a whole nother animal to it. So
it does. That one event had the most incident accident reports versus the entire season combined.
Wow.
So,
That's-
board voted unanimously and it's gone, which is fine. We have other things going on that they're working on. And then new to this year, we are adding some kid events. So this is really exciting. We're going to add a kids fun run and a stroller wave in our 5K race. So that's really cool. And then we're also going to do a mini golf tournament at the brand new Wheelings course out at Heritage Park Golf Course. So the Tom Watson Foundation sponsored that along with JCPRD and got that built out there. If you guys haven't seen it, they're going to do a kind of a soft opening in April because they're still working on it, but it's just a short you know, like maybe a par three, it's just a mini course. Like it's designed for kids, the Wii Links part. It just gives kids a chance to get out there, try out the sport. The course is modified, the holes are larger, they'll have specialized balls that they can use. The clubhouse is also gonna have clubs that kids can rent and borrow during the round. And so that event is gonna be on May 13th, and we are looking for partners on that, and some golf coaches as well. And again, working with First Tee and PGA Midwest, and then some of our local golf pros as well to come out to that. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And that is,
Where did you say that was?
that's gonna be at Heritage Park, Golf Course.
Thanks.
So it's a really cool event. So if you guys want to come out, we'd love to have you guys. And again, May 13th, and it's just to help support the future, the next generation of corporate challenge competitors and dual sports. Hopefully get some of those kids out there and competing, or the future generation of KC crew. So
So is the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan involved in the corporate challenge, or is it just the Children's Mercy connection? Are you promoting the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan through the corporate challenge in any way?
we will be, yes. So
Okay.
we've actually just requested funding for the May 13th event to cover the cost of the fees for the kids to keep it free. Just so that way we don't have any families that can't compete because they can't afford it. And the idea behind that event is to promote, obviously, the Healthy KC Lifestyles program, and also all other junior golf leagues that are going on in the area, and then different other scholarship programs that families can get signed up for. So if Mitch, let's pretend that you have a kid and you and your kid live up in the Northland, want to come compete at this tournament, your kid loves it, but you don't know where to go. You could find a local golf course near you that has that junior golf league, so you could get your kid signed up for that. So that's the whole point of this, is to expose these kids to the sport, promote the local junior golf leagues, and get kids out there participant at their nearest course.
Awesome.
Does that kind of help, Bill?
It does. And I'm going to go ahead and just send you an email and request some time with you and I to talk about
Sure.
promoting the events and promoting the activities and possibly engaging the radio station and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
do think that it's a unique opportunity to share with Kansas City your involvement with Kansas City Physical Activity Plan and what it means to be connected to Shelley and the Healthy Lifestyles group at Children's Mercy, and how that has evolved and where we're at today. It sounds like you have a lot of exciting things happening with the corporate challenge that I haven't actually heard happening in the past, and that must be because you're so awesome. So
Stop it, Bill. So no, it has been kind of a long time coming. I know we were kind of gearing that direction, but I'm gonna blame the pandemic just like everyone else.
yeah.
Now that we're finally cruising at cruising speed, I feel like, and getting back to normal, we're able to kick off some of these initiatives that we wanted to pre-COVID. And so this is just kind of like a pilot year for the kids events. And then next year, we're hoping to add on like maybe a kids flag football at the actual flag football event, and expand on those, the next generation of corporate challenge or KC crew. And
Yeah.
just to get those
Well-
kids out there and earn their own medal that their parents are getting.
I love
And
it.
can I throw a pitch in there for figuring out ways to integrate with WIN? Because the whole concept of sports sampling is the foundation for Camp WIN. And I'll be working with my programming committee to look for different ways to create Camp WIN type experiences outside of our 3-week window where we run Camp WIN. And so trying to find different ways to partner, to work with other organizations that share that mission. I mean, this is exactly what these conversations to me are all about. So I'd like to connect with you maybe offline to have a conversation about that, but also how we're engaging our adults. So both, with I think the corporate challenge and KC Crew both provide some really interesting opportunities that we could potentially try to create some grown-up WIN sports sampling experiences So thinking through how we might have maybe a WIN division in Corporate Challenge, or have some type of WIN activities that tie into KC Crew. I really would like to find ways to explore those a little bit further, even if not for this cycle, maybe for next year, since we're only weeks away. And you know, I'm still working on reorganizing my board a little bit. So we're getting there. We're getting there, but yeah, I really want to be intentional about how we find new ways to move forward and partner, because I mean, everybody knows we can't, there's no one organization, I think, that can just continue to create more events and more opportunities under their own umbrella. The way we create more opportunities for each of our sets of constituents is by cross-pollinating and getting WIN folks into Corporate Challenge and into KC Crew, and getting and the reverse of that. So
that's exactly right. And it's exactly what I'm experiencing too with ShareWaves, where there are these things that are happening that are good, and they can be better if we just engage and help promote them and share them and get kids in them and get adults in them, and just start using all of the fundamentals that we know are there that will serve, you know, our target group that we're trying to target, people that do not see physical activity as part of their lives. We're trying to use this physical activity plan to help people in a way that is scientifically proven to work, and it just all fits. And this idea of sport, it becomes universal rallies and more diversity and more togetherness, and when we start sharing that amongst ourselves, we all get it. When we start sharing it with the public and they start to get it, that's where really our dynamically can change. Robin?
Oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
No,
My
I just thought you had something else to say. That's no good.
No, sorry. My computer is freaking out right now. So sorry. I'm gonna actually switch here in just a second. So no, I don't have any comments, but yeah, agree.
Yes, Ruth would love to connect with you outside this. Bill, you as well. Yes, of course. Anyone else who wants to connect, just definitely email me, let me know. If I don't respond right away. I'm kind of all over the place this week and next week, but I do want to meet with you guys and talk to you more about this. So, and I also have another super exciting thing I just want to share. Last thing, just came up with this today. So we currently have a QR code with our marketing team that will shoot people out to our website and a trail map to promote trails in the area. We are working on a playground passport to create kind of a map of all the different playgrounds in the Johnson County area. Would love to see something else like this expanded. So that way families want to go playground hopping. Because I don't have small humans, but I used to run summer camps and both my sisters do. And so what I do is I take them playground hopping, and we'll spend like 20 or 30 minutes at one playground, load up, go to another playground, and just repeat the process. Very similar to like a pub crawl, except it's a playground crawl and there's no alcohol because it's for kids. But it was a huge hit at our summer camps in Lawrence. Some of our camps up here have done it as well too in Johnson County. And it's just been very popular. So that's kind of something we're going to try and promote internally at JCPRD. Going to share with some other park and rec groups as well. Maybe just get a giant playground map, and so families can go playground hopping and check out a free opportunity. Bill, you're muted. Hold on.
I know there's times when you don't want to hear me talk. So, no, that seems like something the Parks and Rec group would just eat up. So I think that needs to be shared with the Parks and Rec sector, and let them know how it is you're going about doing that. And, you know, I can already see that, you know, you show people where Harris Park is, they're going to want us to go check out Harris Park, you know, and that would be a great, you know, pub crawl for Kansas City, Missouri, you know, just to go see what Chris Harris has done on, you know, 29th and Paseo or whatever. It's crazy. 41st, sorry.
Well, and Bill, this is being shared to the Park and Rec sector because I'm on the Park and Rec sector. So
Oh,
I'm
of
one
course.
of the
Of course you are.
co-chairs. So
Awesome. Well, of course. Well, I appreciate you double dipping and being a part of the sports group, because it really benefits us to have this group together. I know your time is valuable. I appreciate you giving up your time for the sports sector. I know that I speak for Robin and Shelley and the rest of the team, Natalie and Katie and everyone else involved with putting this together, that it only works if people like you show up. And I know that your lives are busy and hectic and chaotic, and March Gladness is here and Kansas City's going crazy. I can't believe Ruth has time to be with us, but I love having you and the rest of the group. It's exciting, but it's also challenging. And so thank you.
Hey, before we go, Mitch, can you put your email address in the chat? 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm-
for sure.
Oh, that's easy enough.
And Mitch, I have a meeting with Greg Malloy. Would you want to be in that meeting too?
Sure. Yeah, he's our general manager.
Okay.
He sits
Awesome.
5 feet from behind me. So he was the one that kept popping in and out with his back in the back of my screen. He was helping our new
Were you?
employees. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to jump on that.
Okay, and it's going to be towards the end of March because I have spring break next week, but it's in a couple weeks.
Cool.
And I'll make sure you get included in that. All right, Robin, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yes. I was just going to give you guys a quick update on another project that we're working on that is very much related to the Aspen Institute. So we are about to begin what we call a physical activity mapping project for the region. So we're partnering with the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and we are going to, over the next probably 9 months, try to identify as many physical activity related programs that exist in our region as we can. So we're talking things like nonprofit sports leagues through Parks and Rec, for-profit sports leagues that are through any one of those, any number of locations, including those big ones that you see all over town. We're talking about the places that offer swim classes. We're talking about all the Win for KC, for example. All of that would be encompassed in these programs that we're going to try to document. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to identify the program, the organization that sponsors the program, who the target population is, where it's located, what the costs are, demographics of the people that participate, all of those things. With the idea being at the end of it, we are going to have this big giant database that says, okay, here's how many programs are in Kansas City. Here's how many are related to sports. Here are how many are related to recreation. Here are all of those that are related to just free play. Here are how many we have for football, for basketball, for cheer, for things like that. Here's where they're at geographically. By knowing all this information, we will be able to identify where there are strengths in the system, where there are gaps in the system and barriers to participation in the system. And we've done similar mapping projects around childhood obesity, and it was extremely informative. And so this is just kind of like the next iteration of it. Obviously, this information is going to be like gold when we do the Aspen Institute project as well. Technically, they're separate, but it's all part of this larger
goal of the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan, which is to do surveillance around physical activity metrics for the region. So I say all that in that we are about ready to begin. I think we're probably going to have 3 stakeholder meetings over the course of 9 months. And what those are going to be is we're going to get a bunch of people in a room together and we're going to say, okay, who should we document and how can we find out this information? What information should we be collecting? It's going to be a relatively small group given despite the scope of physical activity programming in the region. We're talking like 20 people or so is who will be asked to be on the stakeholder committee. So we're finalizing those invitations over the next couple of days. So you might be getting a letter from us saying, hey, we would like your input on this process. And the meetings are going to be held, and I don't have them in front of me. So Natalie, correct me if I'm wrong, but one will be on Tuesday, April 11th, and the second will be on Wednesday, April 12th. You don't have to go to both. You can go to one or the other, and we've got 2 separate, thank you, Natalie. We got 2 separate locations. It's all in person, unfortunately, just because we want to have the conversation around it that is better had in person. So that being said, we hope if we ask for your involvement, you can. If you don't or don't have time for it, that's okay. Obviously, like we don't need 20 Parks and Rec people. So we know we got a lot of Parks and Rec people on here. So we will probably just ask a couple of Parks and Rec people. We'll still come back to these groups like the sports sector and the Parks and Rec sector multiple times over the next 9 months to get feedback on things. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. If you see that coming through, and to just let it know that that's another activity that we're working on, kind of big picture with the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan. So any questions about that? Great.
Love it.
And then Natalie, sorry, did we get to everything on your agenda?
Maybe just like making Bill and Adrian aware that for the next core work group meeting, they'll be champion our Aston Institute State of Play implementation project application.
Cool.
And if
Okay.
anyone else has any updates within their own organization, we kind of skipped over the introductions at the beginning.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, well, sorry that I skipped over the introductions. Should we introduce everybody, Natalie?
I feel like most of us know each other. They've
Yeah.
attended the sector meeting at this point.
I get a little nervous when this thing starts, just so you know, a little anxiety.
I'll just have one announcement for later this spring, and we talked about this with Bill earlier in the week. We're starting this Aspen Institute project. They're hosting their annual summit. They have a national summit every year. That's in May. I put the link in the chat. If you're interested in this, it looks to be a good conference, a good summit. So a good place to learn about some of the national issues around play and sports participation.
It's the 10th anniversary, so they've been at it for 10 years, and they produced their first report in 2016. They have a new report for 2022 that kind of shows the impact COVID has had on our kids across the country. It's a comprehensive report that a lot of people lean into their stats because they're all qualitative and quantitative scientific method research that has power, that really is written about and published, that really make a difference when you are talking with potential donors or potential funders of the kind of activity that we're trying to generate around the city with physical activity. So if you haven't invested any time in understanding what the Aspen Institute has been trying to do, they've got a great website, tons of information, and very involved in the conference is, I think it's a little over $300 to attend. It's a 2-day event. I'm going to drive out there and attend. And I'd love anyone else to come out and check it out because I think it's going to be super valuable.
Big 12 fun run
Oh, yeah.
Saturday morning.
Big 12 fun run. Love it. A
Rain
lot
or
of stuff
shine.
going around, a lot of stuff going on downtown. So check out the heart of the city.
And we'll see if my Cyclones can pull off a tournament win.
I think they will. My money's on them. All right.
They'll probably drink the most beer. That's one thing Iowa State fans win every year. I
Yep.
think.
They sure do.
I would just put a pitch in, if you're coming down, make sure you swing by the women's tournament as well.
Yes.
Because the games are going on. We're offset by 1 day, but there's so Brenda Van Langen, who will be doing a lot of the commentary on site, she was saying going to be some great games. So it's a little more level playing field this year, and so come watch women's basketball too.
Oh my gosh. And yes, I mean,
No
like,
basketball like the
again,
Big
I'll
12
just promote my
basketball.
Cyclones. Like, I thought they were going to win the conference,
All
and
right.
they finished
It's
4th.
straight
Or,
Uh,
so yeah,
Please
it's
enjoy
amazing play.
March Madness.
Bill, you're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Yeah, my internet's unstable. Have a good everyone.
Take care.
Bye.